Hello, how's everybody? How's the quarantine time going? It's very silent around. I would like to address the silence. It is like the earth is taking a breath. It's very profound. So I'm back with my book. I'm going to be narrating chapter 2 today. Chapter 1 I narrated yesterday. And in chapter 1 we had set up the universe. Now in chapter 2 a little bit of the civilization is set up. And they start to experiment with different things. The gods of the ancient past. They start to experiment with plants and roots and barks and whatsoever in order to gain entheogenic experience. So I would like to address what an entheogen is. What is an entheogen? An entheogen is anything that upon digestion or intake gives you a mystical experience, gives you an experience beyond these dimensions, beyond this into parallel realities. So, and then they get on to create the legendary drink. We've all heard about the mystical somras. It is a very mystical drink. It is psychedelic in properties. So the gods of the ancient past come up with this whole thing. So let's go. Let's read and see how it goes. Chapter 2. Everyone has a myth to tell. In times such, from a civilization that was created through the lovemaking of dirt and vibrations, the gods of the ancient past came into existence. The Holy Trinity, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva, emerged from the same land into a civilization. The contact of Om and Earth had created the ripples of infinite desires, and to fulfill these desires, infinite fragments of life were created. Just like how a seed props out into a tree, which has several branches, stems and leaves, the earth sprouts its life. Like the seed of the tree vanished after giving birth to the tree, similarly, God Om vanished from earth after giving it life, and seated itself in all hearts. Now one seed was several fruits, leaves, stems and branches, but they all connected to the same root. All humans were one, joined by the same land beneath their feet, joined by the air that they breathed, but they did not realize it. Although they questioned, they asked, they shouted in the sky what all of this was all about, unknown to the fact that life just wanted to see a reflection and it created an equation. The humans screamed their questions on existence into deep, unknown black skies. After solving basic existential requirements of food, water and shelter, it was not long before when the gods sat down to question the creation and created a civilization on the grounds of curiosity. As time passed, Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva became very close friends. Their friendship was instigated through their common question, how did the universe come into existence? All three of them had an inner calling. They knew something lay beyond all that they could see, and that the visualization witnessed through open eyes was just inner reflection being projected out. The questions, what is life and who am I, had gotten hold of their minds and would not leave. At most opportunities, they would guide their focus inside their mind in order to understand the meaning of their existence. They experimented with yoga and meditation and started to convert their body into the receptive antenna that it is, in order to be able to receive all the densities of all the dimension and parallel universes in them, as all and everything was a reflection of their inner being. Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva devoted their time in looking inside. They liked to contemplate the strange visions and supersonic sounds that meditation introduced to them, and tried to figure out the physical properties of the world that existed behind the closed eyelids. One day, Brahma was researching on some plants in the forest, and had planned to spend his whole day searching for different herbs, antidotes in order to make medicines. As he walked in the depths of the dense Himalayan forest, his nostrils were tenderly touched by this fragrant whiff of a forest fire that pulled him towards itself. What a wonderful smell, he thought to himself. Closed eyes, he followed the beautiful whiff, hypnotized, coming at a distance of a crackling forest fire. Upon reaching closer and having inhaled a lot of the fire smoke, Brahma stood his ground, unable to walk and unable to maintain standing balance. He could see a fire at a distance, but was unable to lift his leg in order to move. Suddenly, the whole world lost dimension, and the earth lost gravity. Brahma became the center of equilibrium, and the whole earth started rotating and twirling. He could not feel himself falling, but the visual suddenly flipped, and he felt a soft bang on the back of his head, as green soft grass of earth became his fluffy pillow. Now he could see the colorful sky, which was actually supposed to be blue. The colors of the sky gradually changed hue, and soon everything went to very bright white. An emptiness in bright white. A few hours later, Brahma woke up gasping for air, and found himself covered in ash amidst the ruins of a forest fire, a marijuana forest fire. After a few days of tripping in the jungle, Brahma returned to his cave in the Himalayas with a variety of plants, barks, roots and vegetables that gave a mystical experience, that induced a journey into the depths of the mind. Brahma set up a tripping lab in his huge cliff cave in the Himalayas, overlooking the gigantic snow-peaked Himalayan mountain ranges, and started to research deeply on entheogens. Entheogens, substances that generated the divine within and gave a mystical experience. He figured there was a communication between the present realities and beyond. He felt the subatomic trying to speak to him. He had found mediums that acted like microscopes to peep into the universe through the mind. Brahma went and told Shiva about the plants and their magical properties. He proposed to call Vishnu and that all three of them get together and experiment with the food of gods. Shiva agreed, and their friend Vishnu was invited. A new era began in the life of Brahma, Vishnu and Shiva. The era of mysticism, the era of entheogens. By combining their powers and experimenting, they figured out ways to travel to parallel realms and talk to many other universal entities. Apart from telepathic conversation with extraterrestrials on other 9 dimensions, they had intra-terrestrial conversations too. Like, they would talk to the land, for instance, feel what the wind was saying. In the atoms of all that existed, they had found more solar systems and more planets existing in their protons and neutrons. They would combine and share their knowledge and after their mystical trips, hence go back into the realms of the unknown to know more about infinity. Their common topic of contemplation was the topic of the ultimate singularity of the universe. Other pondering thoughts were the map of the universe and the reasons for things like gravity, fission or fusion. Sometimes reaching the conclusion that time is equal to space and sometimes that zero is equal to infinity. Here in a cave on top of the Kailash Parvat in the Himalayas, 3 great minds accumulated knowledge and tried to solve the puzzle of life. On a full moon night, Brahma proposed his idea that he'd prepare a heroic dose, something called the somras. He proposed they take a 3 moon cycle break and come back to the cave and consume a mega entheogen, an eye opener. There was no saying no in between these 3. For 3 moon cycle, they take a break from all. They go back home and attend to their worldly duties, meditate and come back fresh to consume the infamous, the legendary somras.